Hey everybody, welcome to the second episode of Kira's Culinary Creations. I am Kira and today we are going to be making soft pretzels. Let's get started. So far I have added 1 cup of warm whole milk. Now I'm going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of rapid rise yeast. Rapid rise yeast cuts your rising time in half. So that's why you want to use it, or in quarters. So now I'm going to do my half. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Here is our first tablespoon. I like to level it out so that when we put it in, we have exactly the right amount. So now our yeast has been sitting for about 5 minutes. It's looking great, by the way. So I have started already on our flour. 2 cups of flour are already in the bowl out of the 4. So I'm gonna add 2 more cups. Here's 1 of our cups. Here's another 1 of our cups. So I'm gonna start adding our 1½ teaspoons of salt. Here is, I like to do it over the sink so that if you make a mess, it's not going on your counters and your mom doesn't have to clean it all up. Let's add our half. Over the sink. All done. Now what we have to do is we have to whisk all of our salt and all of our flour together. So now that everything's been whisked in, I'm gonna make a hole in the center. So now it's gonna kind of look like a volcano. I personally would like to use my hand for it because I feel like that's the best that you can do for making a hole in the center. Okay, so the hole in the center is for the yeast to go into. If you dump it on top and then you mix it in, it won't really work. So that's why you want to do a hole to add all your ingredients in, and then you mix it all together at the end. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. Now let's mix this up. So I know how to make these pretzels because I went to 1 week of baking camp. On the first day we did ciabatta bread and soft pretzels. First we started with our ciabatta bread, but then we went on with the soft pretzels. Personally, the soft pretzels were my favorite. Okay, so I just finished mixing and the dough is looking awesome. So now we're gonna put it in this greased bowl. So let's do this. I can either use a spoon or my hand. Right now I'm gonna be using a spoon. Whichever one you prefer is up to you. Any other extra dough that we have on the sides or anything, I would prefer to scrape off with a spoon and dump in the bowl. So now that the bowl is greased and dough is in it, we're going to cover it with this towel and let it rise for 45 minutes. Okay, we're back. So far the dough has risen for the appropriate amount of time, the 45 minutes. Now what we're going to do is we are going to flour our board. Only a little. You don't want your dough to taste like flour once you're done. Personally, I want to spread it out so that once you dump your dough out, it'll be perfect. So now I'm going to dump my dough onto my board. And as the instructions say, you punch it down, obviously. Now we're going to cut it into 14 equal pieces. So I'm going to use a bench scraper to cut our dough into half. A bench scraper can scoop up your ingredients and put them in the bowl for you. But it can also cut dough or scoop the dough. I sometimes use it to cut the dough and sometimes to scoop it. So we're gonna cut this into 14 equal pieces of dough. So I'm just about to finish cutting all of our 14 pieces. So personally, you should probably flip your board over so that once you start rolling, you don't have a big already doughy and like already messy board. So to roll this out, you grab 1 of your pieces and you. Okay, so now we're gonna roll this out to about 14 inches. When I think about 14 inches, since I've done this before, I usually go to the end of my mat or your cutting surface. So we're gonna keep rolling until we get all the way off your mat. So now that I'm off, I'm gonna make this a little thicker, and we're gonna make the shape of our pretzels. So we're gonna do one over that, like a ribbon. Then we're going to flip those over, and voila, you have the perfect pretzel. Now I'm gonna keep doing that with all of our doughs, so that once we're done, we can egg wash these babies and get them into the oven. Okay, so I'm just about finished. I need to do my last pretzel now. So right after I finish this pretzel, I'm going to do an egg wash. If you don't know what an egg wash is, then it's a beaten egg that kind of looks like a paste, but it gives it your pretzels or whatever you're using with it that golden brown color. So right now I'm going to crack my egg. And once you're done cracking your egg, you will usually throw out the shell and then wash your hands. Fun tip about when you're beating an egg. You can use the bottom of the fork, but for me, I usually use the back of the fork. I feel like that it doesn't, number one, give you such a hard sound as the top of it does. Also, it makes it go by much faster and much smoother. So now that we've finished our egg wash, I am going to use this pastry brush and just brush a little bit on each pretzel. I'm just about finished with putting all the egg wash on. So once I'm done with the egg wash, you can use whatever topping that you want on your pretzels or whatever you and your family loves to have. Personally, I want to use salt. Salt to me is what an original pretzel is. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm about to finish the egg wash, so let's get started on our salt. So when you're putting your salt on, or whatever you want on, you don't want to add too much. If you add too much, then you're going to be like, oh my God, so much, that you're not even going to be able to taste the actual pretzel. And you don't want that, do you? So let me just go ahead and finish putting all the salt on these pretzels. When you're baking pretzels, you want to bake them at 425 degrees and for 7 minutes to 9 minutes. You also want to rotate your pan halfway through so that you get an even nice amount of color on each side. They just came out of the oven and they are perfect. And you know pretzels, they are delicious. But one more thing that can make it more perfect and delicious is a homemade cheese sauce. Let's go! So I've gathered all of our ingredients together. So first we need to add 1 cup of whole milk. Next we need to add 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch makes your sauce much thicker. Then you need to add 4 ounces of provolone, which is this cheese. Ooh. Make sure that you add all of it in. Next, you need to add another 4 ounces of cheddar cheese. Perfect. Now you need to add a pinch of salt, which is about this much. So I'm just gonna use my hand and dump all that in. So now I'm going to grab the lid and put it on. Now that everything is in the blender, they need to blend for about 3 minutes. Our blender that we use, when you turn it on really high, it melts everything and makes a delicious cheese sauce. Let's start this. If your blender doesn't heat up at all, then you can use it in the microwave to heat up your sauce. Because you want a really hot sauce when you're using it with your pretzels. Look how creamy and good that is. Now, I think that we should taste it. It's so good. It's creamy and silky, and you can taste all of it while it melts in your mouth. Now let's see how our final product tastes. Let's taste. It's so good. The pretzel is nice and puffy, nice and thick, and the cheese really just melts in your mouth, and it is so good. Look how easy these are. You should try making these at your house. Don't forget that kids can cook too. This is Kira signing off of Kira's Culinary Creations. Bye!